this is just going to be over the super loose basics of drawing things, right? I'm self-taught, first of all, and I've been drawing professionally for, about 19 years. So I've been drawing for money for about that long. And there's a lot of things that I've picked up over the time that's kind of, just shortcuts and rudimentary sort of like, oh yeah, I never thought about that. And I don't have to do X, Y, and Z when I can just jump to like, the very end of an idea and just pull the whole concept through. But the root of doing that well is having the fundamentals, having those really small, like, hey, folks, hi, got some more friends here. It's just doing those small things. Like, let's talk about drawing the head, okay? As a concept, right, there's two parts to the head. There's the whole sphere of the skull. Let's see if this will work for me. Hope you can see that. That's this part. This is big. See how big my head is here? That represents this part here, right? Now my eyes, teeth, jaw are a whole different part. You can usually represent that with something sort of like a U. It's going to come down off the side of the head. Let's see if that can will write for me. Just be on a butt. Okay. So, got the whole cranium here, and we got our jaw under here, right? You can divide that down the center. Let's switch to green. You can divide that down the middle. There we go. See, much better, right? Now this will give you your eye line, okay? You can put your eye line. You gotta make sure you always keep your eye line down low enough to leave room for the brain. Okay, something that's really important about drawing anything is knowing what's inside the thing that you're drawing. So if you're drawing a person, you want to make sure you kind of leave enough space for there to at least be the idea that there's stuff inside. A lot of people skip on the rib cage a lot. You'll see people with short trunks don't leave room for the stuff that makes you tick on the inside, and it'll put something in your drawing where people will kind of say, oh, that looks a little bit, something's not quite right, it looks a little bit off. It may not be something huge, but that's what it is. Another thing is hands, the spacing on fingers and things. All of this has to be able to bend to form things like a fist or to grip something. So when you're drawing stuff like that, you got to make sure you leave a palm. You want to make sure you leave enough room for that stuff. So, hey, welcome in. The general idea is make sure you leave room for stuff. So the reason this is way up here, and it seems like I left a lot of space, there's a brain in there, right? Now on this line here, you can always just kind of knock in your eyeballs if you want to put them there. The nose will go generally about halfway from that distance to the chin, okay? These aren't like permanent rules, but it's kind of quick, easy things that you can remember to keep you on track, all right? Now, depending on what kind of character you're doing too, if you're drawing something more realistic, like I tend to draw a lot of stuff like Marvel and like DC, and I make a lot of their trading cards and stuff like that. So these tips and tricks will go a long way in that direction, but it's all based on drawing things from life. I draw a lot of realistic things to learn all this stuff. So if you want to practice, I always recommend people draw something from life. Look at something, whatever you can see, even if you can only get on Google and find a face to work from a real face. Don't try to invent, because then you're just kind of reinforcing whatever your preconceived bad ideas are, But it helps to just, keep working from things that are actually real. So your ears go about halfway across this eye line here. The mouth is generally, at least the center of the mouth is about halfway between the bottom of the nose and the chin. Okay? Looks pretty basic, right? Have you guys ever seen stuff like that before? Those sort of diagrams like this? Okay? Nothing super fancy about it, but here's how it works when you put it all into action. Okay, so I'm just going to draw over top of this to let you see how this works. So let's say we're going to do, we're going to turn this into a superhero. That big strong jaw in there. Let's put our neck muscles in. And you see, I'm sticking to the design that I laid in. I'm not actually adding anything. I'm just drawing over top of what I already did. So I'm following along where my nose was preset. I got my mouth here. I put a little chin in there. Put another covering over that eye. Let's put some ears on this guy. Looking a little bit familiar? Okay. That's how you draw all of them. I don't care if it's Batman, Superman. The women work the same way too, it's just the musculature is a little bit different. But the basis, the basic stuff I was just showing you, all that will work for this, okay? So basically you'd have to make it look a little bit nicer. And the rest of this is like what I call icing, right? We have our cake is nice and baked. Everything's laid out for us. We got our fundamentals in the right spot. So now I'm just going to try to go through it to make it look cool. You see how this works though? You see how we started off with something fairly flat and just kind of basic? Once you've got that, the sky's the limit. I mean, you can do whatever you want after that. I do a lot of, I make a ton of trading cards for Marvel and DC. I've done about almost 3,000. I'm at 2,750, I think, over the course of like 5 or 6 years that I've been doing it professionally. And the way that I started off doing cards it's totally different. My technique is completely different from how I have evolved sort of, and what I do now. I'm a lot faster than I used to be. I'm a lot cleaner than I used to be too, as far as like technique goes. But it all sprouts off of basic fundamentals. So totally encourage you to not sleep on your fundamentals, you know? Because once you got that, you can turn any sketch into a decent sketch. Let's make him a little bit more angry. Batman's never been photographed smiling ever.
Ain't that the truth?
Right? We like him that way. Who's excited for like that new Batman movie? You guys think that's gonna be good? I want to believe.
I don't know about having the Twilight actor.
I want to believe though, man. I'm hoping that he's good.
Just think of him like Water for Elephants, like that kind of actor.
That's
give him a chance, because Heath Ledger, remember?
That's true.
Batman.
I was one of the guys that. Yeah.
What kind of movie were you watching?
Jokes we tell about animals.
I was one of those guys.
But
Yeah.
no, a lot of people were hesitant with Heath Ledger, and he was one of the I personally think the best, one of the best.
Yeah.
Other than
I agree. Yeah.
And Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. I'm hoping against hope that it's that
Because
it works
Colin
out.
Farrell's doing Penguin, and you know my boss is a little mad.
Yeah.
But he's going to have the same person that did Miss Doubtfire.
Oh, okay. All right. That's cool.
So, I mean, Miss Doubtfire was the bomb. So.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. All right. So you guys see where we wound up, okay? Not too bad. Not too crazy.
It's like Batman with a feline face.
Yes, that's fair enough. It's funny how you say that, because a lot of these drawings, things that they start off looking one way. Remember how terrible that looked about 4 minutes ago? And how basic? Now it looks less terrible. And then if say I kept working on it for another 15 minutes, it would look completely different.
Yeah.
You keep building that way, but you gotta have that core. You know, the core gives you access to everything.
In a weird way, if you kind of make the human face more cat-like, it can make things look cuter.
That's true. Yeah. Do you know why that is?
Bigger eyes.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. And do you know why we find big eyes cute?
Babies?
Babies. Good job. You don't need this. You don't need me. You want to do this? You don't
No.
need me. But no, that's exactly right. And the things like that are super important for like noticing that will help you with your character design. You know, like if you need to make a cute character, we're going to exaggerate those particular big eyes. You want to shrink things like the nose. Tiny little noses are adorable, you know.
So like chibis are so popular in Japan.
Totally. They're just cute. They're like cute distilled into cuteception, you know?
Yes.
Absolutely. Let's do another one. Alright. see, I forgot what this print was, but this is actually a drawing of Batman. So it's just funny. I grabbed these before I left. I didn't realize I picked up a Batman print. But yeah, so we'll do something with this at the end of the show. Maybe give it
DC's a
away.
good thing.
Say what?
I said DC's a good thing.
DC is good. DC is our friend. But I love them both.
Yeah.
I love DC. I love Marvel. I can't pick sides. They're both like my friends. You know, I grew up with both of them. But yeah, are there any? Let me ask you guys a question. Is there anything that you guys struggle with, art-wise, that you want to maybe?
Male body anatomy.
Hands.
Okay, so here let's fire off one at a time. So
Male body anatomy.
okay, and you said
Fingers, hands.
And actually, it's not really anatomy, but if I'm trying to draw distance-wise, like
Mhm.
when, I don't know what it's called, but like,
perspective.
yeah, and like, I have to make like, if I'm standing in the street and the buildings look like they're getting smaller and smaller.
Sure.
I don't.
Vanishing points.
Perspective is really hard.
Yeah, what you're talking about are vanishing points and perspective. Those are super tricky things. Okay, anybody else? Go for it.
I usually draw like a female body, but I can't really understand where like, excuse my French, the tits turn into the waist. I can't.
Sure. Okay. I see what. Okay, I see exactly what you're talking about. No, that makes total sense. I was gonna try to give you a quick reply to like kind of maybe help you out, but like, you got to think about remember what I was mentioning earlier about knowing what's underneath of a structure? That is absolutely everything, right? So I'm going to try to hit some of you guys' questions, okay? That's why I wanted to get kind of a baseline of what everybody wanted to know about. But understanding what is underneath that, here. We'll do a quick sort of like, all right, shoulder, clavicle, shoulder. Can you guys, if you guys can't see, you can feel free to move. But this is your question, so I'm gonna see if we can give you a little bit of a quick tutorial on that. Rib cage, up spine, and our head would be up here. Okay, so this is kind of it could be a female or a male body, but this one's a little bit of a stronger character. So this could be like a Wonder Woman or maybe like a relatively thin Batman or something, right? Well, you were asking about where the breasts begin and end. How are you on your skeletal anatomy? You feel pretty comfortable? No? Okay. If you ever want to know the answer to how to draw something, get as deep down at the bottom foundation of it as you can. So if you want to be good at drawing the body, try to draw the skeleton first, right? That will help you a lot. But to answer what you were saying, usually you get, think of drawing the breast like kind of drawing water balloons hung from the neck on the chest, right? There's a curvature to the rib cage. It's like a barrel. It's like trying to lay two water balloons on top of a barrel, right? They're going to fall to a certain direction. So you got to kind of respect that idea. And it depends on the size of, various sizes of, chest or whatever, but this is a basic idea. That'll keep you from having what looks like sort of tacked on circles, and it's much more of a teardrop shape than it is a sphere, Think about gravity, think about weight, all that plays a part, but that's about what you want to have. And the idea is kind of like putting something underneath your shirt. The skin would be the shirt, and whatever's underneath there. So you got to pay attention to that, because that's how that lays, and that mass tucks around and hangs that way. So I hope that helps a little bit. Awesome. Okay, hands. Hands are a whole thing that we can do, right? But I'll give you some basics. Drawing a hand, at least a relatively straightforward hand, maybe one just out like this, or maybe if you're going to even do a fist, maybe we can cover that too. You want to try to break it down. So imagine my fingers weren't there. So let's say I turn my hand around. This is the base thing you got to have. This is the palm. I know you're looking at the back of my hand, but you get what I'm saying. You want to have that set up. And then you have to have room for 5 fingers. So let's say this is going to be, my hand is going to draw it this way, okay? So let's take a look, right? So we've got, again, no fingers, palm. Okay. That looks like it kind of got that about right. Yeah. You've got to then remember that you've got, the knuckles are a great guideline to go with. So you've got 5 of those guys, right? Pinky here, next finger, middle finger, index, and then the thumb, okay? Each of those fingers has 1, 2 knuckles, but 3 sections. Does that make sense? So section here, bone. Section here, new bone, okay? You got to keep that in mind. So I can draw the little middle section first. It's going to get progressively longer. It's going to kind of do a stair step up and then back down. The index finger is a little bit shorter than your middle finger. And then do that same thing again. Knuckle. You see what I'm doing here? The knuckles are kind of a guide. If you remember, I got to have 1, 2, 3 little bumps. And then my finger ends, like my finger curves and it stops. That's a really super helpful way to remember that. Of course, I'm trying to do this without drawing that. After a while, you internalize all this stuff and you can kind of just do it. But take the time to learn that. You see a lot in like cartoons, especially. You'll see characters that have only this bend. They don't have the ability to make a fist. They've only got 1 knuckle, basically, right? And it's like, there you go, exactly. They've just got like this weird sort of, they skip this last piece, and it's fine if you know that it's there, but I think a lot of artists, when we're first starting out, we don't really realize that.
Probably because it's hard to animate 5 fingers.
It is,
like
that's
that.
very true. Yeah, very, very true. It is like an animation shortcut, but for people that want to know how to draw stuff, you just keep that in your mind, because that's what's inside the hand is, you know what I mean? You need to know that what exactly is in there, okay? So that's hands, okay? It's a little bit of a hand. If you want to draw, say like a closed, you guys want to try closed fist? Now, I like to do this pose here, right? Seems kind of hard to draw, but if you were, say, looking at a fist coming straight at you, what do you see? You got 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe get a little piece of this knuckle here, this one in the thumb. So the basic, the flattest, the basic, most bottom tier, what can I turn this shape into that seems pretty straightforward is going to be, what do you think? Basic, super basic shape. What would you turn it into?
Oh, like a square, right?
Square.
Yeah.
I would go square, rectangle. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Now see, it doesn't look like a lot, but that is everything. That is like 90% of what we're dealing with. The rest is putting that icing on the cake, similar to turning that Batman from a blob into the, Cape Crusader. It's just keep adding. So we've got the thumb. Now, what shape do you think the thumb is going to be down there below my knuckles? What shape do you see just flat out?
Square.
Another square, right? Yeah? Everybody see square pretty much? Yeah? All right. You see why I'm saying that? Is that making sense? You're going to put that thumb, bingo, bango. All right? Fair enough. Just knock it in, right? Now, if you want to get fancy about it, remember what I told you before? Count the, say it with me, class. Count the knuckles, that's right. Oh, tiny little breakthroughs. And how many are we going to have across the top? 4. All right. So you got to get in here with these 4 awesome circles. Now, here's the thing. If you want to make a clenched fist, just a little pro tip. These knuckles, when you squeeze things, your knuckles move up. So like not squeezing, squeezing. Not squeezing, squeezing. See? The harder someone squeezes something, the more you want to angle those knuckles down. So if Batman's coming in to punch whoever's about to get it, if you want to make it look like his fist is angry, not just his face. His fist is angry. You got to curve those circles down, okay? That's a type of dynamism that adds to what you're trying to tell story-wise. So that helps, okay? Then, after that, once we got that going, the knuckles don't start, like the finger doesn't start way up here. It's not a straight line through. It's like, quite a bit of skin. Then the fingers divide, you see? So you got to pay attention to that too. Give your fingers a little bit of space. And put your lines in. Okay? Does that help? Yeah? Circles are the jam. I'm telling you. Circles, like anytime you want to do anything, you break it down. Now this is something that I learned to do after drawing the human skeleton for like 5 years, right? Looks like craziness, but it's circles and lines, but it represents joints and bones. And this is something, I don't know, I'm sure other people do this, but I'm self-taught, so I came about this method on my own. But all of this, these little simple tricks I've been showing you, are based off of studying from life. So drawing real people. If you have a friend that wants to let you sit there and sketch them, do it. If you can't do something like that, draw any part of your own body that you can see. Drawing from life is the best thing that you can do. You know. Let's draw. Okay. Anybody else had another? I heard a few different tricky things.
My thing was about like male body anatomy, specifically like the chest area.
Okay. Anything particular about it?
I don't know. It's just every time I draw it, it ends up looking like very feminine looking.
Okay. Interesting. You brought up you bring up some really interesting points. I find, maybe you guys can say if you feel like this or not. As a person with a female body, do you find it easier to draw females?
Yes.
Generally speaking.
Yes.
Yes, right?
Definitely.
Okay. And people with male bodies, you generally find it easier to draw males, would you say? Yeah? I think that the simple reason behind that is because that's what you see the most. That's what you see in the mirror. You understand it from like a level that's more than surface because you live in it, you know. That is really, really at the bottom of what I've been saying is like try to understand what's underpinning that. So it's like we were talking about this form here, right? To make this a nice feminine looking by description sort of form, you want to, of course, get this hourglass thing going. You want to tuck this in here, okay, at the waist. Or accentuate the hips by bringing them out further. You can either pinch them in or you can, bulk out other parts. To do a more male sort of build, do the opposite. You smooth all that out. So less of this, less hips. We still have hips, they're there. But if you're thinking of like your typical superhero, Superman, Mr. Incredible, these guys are built like a square or a triangle. You want to have them be kind of, here, let's start with the box. Let's see if we can chisel them out of this box. So we go shoulders, elbow, hand, elbow. Now, the pectoral connects up under the armpit here, right? Onto the shoulder. It's kind of like drawing the breast, but totally flat. Like, just completely try your best to disregard any sort of, remember I told you before about the water balloon? Absolutely none of that. Just as flat as possible. Will get you at least in the right direction. But it all connects. Once you start studying this stuff, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's really, it's harder to see it because there's things laying on top, like breasts on top of the pectoral muscle. Women have pectoral muscles too. It's just there's a fat plate sitting on top. So you have to kind of be looking for that, pay attention to it. But this will help you out. So you want to just basically skip that dip in here. Just try to go. It does taper in a bit, but not nearly as much. Okay. And then a lot of like what we think about, like especially male superheroes, is like abdominal muscles and strong rib cages. Let's see the belt. Okay, you see where we're going with that? But this is the basic part that you need here that I think maybe you're having a little bit of a tough time with. It's just getting that form versus that form. I would just keep that in mind that men, generally speaking, they have broader shoulders and like a more narrow waist, where women will have more of it's literally more like an hourglass, like that. Generally speaking. Depends on what you're drawing, but you see what I'm saying? So you want to have it be more of a box. Think box, think Mr. Incredible, think old school Superman. Remember Superman from the Adventures of Superman? Did you ever watch that cartoon?
No.
It's a great cartoon, by the way, but he's built like a triangle. Mr. Incredible, think of Mr. Incredible?
Mm-hmm.
Built like a triangle, right? He's all shoulders and like no legs. That's kind of what you want to aim for. Any other? Did that help at all? First of all, a little bit.
Just perspective.
Oh, perspective. Okay. we will go for, let me get my other finger back out. I was supposed to have a projector available, but it fell through, so I'm sorry, because I'm trying to make do with what I got here. Okay, we'll go with the most rudimentary sort of basic one-point perspective, okay? It can get tricky, especially when you get to 2-point and 3-point. It's hard to do. 1-point perspective is kind of just one person's view straight on, right? It's what you see most of the time, if you're in a room anyway. So let's give ourselves a bit of a box here. And what you want to have first is a horizon line. It's literally just going to be, your vanishing point, I'm sorry, it's a vanishing point. You can just put a dot anywhere you want to have everything in the picture converge to. All the lines that are going to be, normally would be, say, like horizontal, are going to converge in one area. What I'm saying sounds crazy, but you'll see what I'm talking about. Just saying. I know it's a bunch of weird words, but that's where our horizon is. You know what I'm talking about when I say the horizon? It's as far as you can see before the Earth curves too much that you can't see over. Cool? All right. This usually represents the view, the eye line of the viewer as well. So if we were in this drawing, we're going to draw where we can't see past anymore. Okay, the line is the moment where you can't see past any of that. Every line that we make from here on is going to point. It has to touch that line. Every horizontal line is going to touch that point. Now, normally, if you want to get really, wow, that was ugly. If you want to get super duper into having this look right, get a ruler. Get a ruler, draw every single one of your lines to that point, okay? Once you have this, let's say we're going to make a city. It'll be one street. We're standing on maybe in the middle of the street, looking straight on. All these lines that we have now will keep us on track. They can be any height that we want. Okay? Let's put a few more in here.
I always found drawing power lines. Yeah, power.
Oh,
power
yeah,
lines,
that's great.
Excellent.
That's a great idea. Yeah, power lines are literally just they do that. They are little lines that point to the vanishing point. It's clever. It's really clever. Excellent point.
So how do you know how many lines to draw, or is it just kind
Well,
of?
what I would normally do if I had a way to do this, I would do it in two different ways. I would do pencil. This will all be pencil instead of marker, right? Nice and lightly draw this. Once I know, okay, I got my grid drawn, I've got all my lines going to my vanishing point, everything looks great, I'd pull out my ink pen, then I would line that up nice and straight, and then I would make my lines. Depending on how many buildings you want. It's like each line, every 2 lines is basically a whole building front, at the basics of it, right? So here, I don't know if you guys can see that, but let's make some more, a few more lines to help us see things. Can you see that? Does that look like a city yet, or like a town, buildings? This is the basics of, can you see that okay? Yeah. That's the basics of drawing all sorts of stuff. The more of these vanishing points you add, the more crazy technical your drawing gets. That's kind of the bottom of it. But if that helps you, I hope that you'll try that out. It seems really weird until you've done it a bunch of times. Like after that, it's like, it takes the mystery like right out of it.
I've watched a lot of YouTube videos because I'm okay with drawing 2D characters,
Sure.
like a little cartoon or something, and I can draw them flat.
Yeah.
But even I have trouble just even twisting them a little bit, which I'm learning. But
Sure.
drawing backgrounds is something I really want to do, and more serious of a background, or even a cartoon background, it's fine. Like a little city that someone's walking through, but
Yeah.
these videos don't make sense to me.
Start, okay, something I recommend to people, is I know I struggled with stuff like that at first too, is getting form, like full form. Think of I don't care what you're drawing, right? Think of it as an actual shape that you know, right? If you're drawing, say you want to draw, let's go back to another head, right? You want to think of that as a sphere, instead of just a circle, right? A flat 2D circle. You want to think of it having, you understand about light sources? pretty familiar with light sources? Awesome. Light sources will show you the form. It will show your viewer form. So let's say we have a light source up here. Run out of time. If we have a light source up there, down here needs to be what, would you think? If it's brightest, exactly. If it's super bright up here, it's going to be pitch black neon down here, okay? That is...
I think someone gave an example. It was like if the sun's in the middle and there's like moons all around it. That's why we have like
Sure.
crescent moons and stuff.
Heck yeah, exactly. And this is starting to look like Death Star already, but the Death Star is a great example of lighting. They lit that thing phenomenally. But you see already with just this lone marker and some scribbles, this has already gone from being flat circle that we had 45 seconds ago to something with more volume. That's true of everything that you're drawing. Understand the foundation of it, understand the shape, the basic shape, and you can start shading it. You know what I'm saying? You could actually start adding that roundness that you're looking for. So, yeah. All right? You're awesome. Did you guys have any other sort of questions about any sort of fundamental basic drawing stuff? I feel like we hit pretty much did I get everybody's question? Yeah?
When creating a character, sometimes I run into the problem where in one drawing she looks the same, and in another drawing she looks completely different.
Sure, yeah.
And I don't know how to, what trick it is.
I have that same problem sometimes. You know what you should do, at least I recommend? Thank you for shutting the door, I appreciate that. Make a character sheet. You know what that is? Character sheets are, you draw your character from the front, side, back. If they have if their arms are in the way, just draw through the arm, like X-ray vision is what I always call it. Just draw that without the arm, so you can see their belt or logo or whatever it might be. That way, get it right on the character sheet. Draw it awesome on the character sheet. Then you have a reference from then on that you can look at without worrying about. It'll take some of that. I gotta remember this. You don't have that. Just tack it to your desk and you can look at it. Cool? Yeah, that should help you. All right, character sheets. You can download them for free, like little sheets off Google too. So, all right. Yes.
So when I'm drawing faces of my characters, I usually like either the eyes are too far apart or they're too close. But they're never perfect. Do you have any tips for that?
Sure. Yeah. You're drawing more realistic people, or realistic characters. Or is it more anime?
Not more anime, but it's more cartoony.
Sure. Okay. Doing cartoon stuff, you do have a lot more leeway. But generally, let's go back to our good old friend, the ugly circle. All right. You want to try to, you want to divide your face, right? So split that about in half, cut that about in half around the middle too. Okay. Now what we've got here is sort of the perfect sort of quadrants for the nose, so for the eyes, which would be over here. You want to have it about midways in here. Something else you can remember too is if your character's face, what their face looks like, the plane of the face, where see there's a flat plane on my face here, this is another plane of my face, where my head turns to the side. Draw that, right? Sketch in the plane of your face so you know where your character's head turns. So you go, oh man, I have to make sure that eyeball, nose, and other eyeball fit in that zone. I can't have an eye over here. Well, I can, but it's an alien now, right? That will help you keep it in the center. So do your circle, right? Do your ugly circle, cut it in half that way too, and then plane of the face, plane of the face. Okay, maybe try doing that, and that will limit how off you can make the eye. You see what I'm saying? Does that help? Yeah? Did you have any more questions? Did I answer your question? Okay. Yeah? All right. Do you guys have any more questions? No? Yeah? All right. Do you feel pretty good about that? You guys, feel like that helped? Awesome. All right. Let me ask you some questions here. Well, it's always a quiz. Life is a quiz. Life is one big quiz. Surprise, all right? All right, I'm going to give this away to somebody, but I want to test your Batman knowledge first, okay? You guys ready for this? You guys ready for this? You know Batman fans in here? No Batman fans?
I hear about it all the time.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We'll keep it fairly simple. All right. Keep it fairly simple. What is Batman's pet dog's name?
Oh, shoot.
I know that's not an easy question. That's the point. Anybody know?
Oh.
No. Not at all. Never.
Alfred.
I know Superman's dog.
No, that's not the question, sir.
Your dog.
Okay. What is the thing called that Batman wears around his waist?
Utility belt.
Fire it off. What is it?
Utility belt.
All right, this guy got it right here. All yours. All right. Congratulations. All right. All right. We got one more. Now this is Galactus. So all my Marvel people in here. All right.
Oh no.
Let's do another question. It's a good Marvel question. All right, I'm on my way out of here, man. So everyone's going to kick me out. But, all right. Let's see. What is this guy's main villain's name? Can you see it?
Silver Surfer.
Oh, we got it. Who said it? Was that you? Silver Surfer. Well done. All right, guys. That is it for this panel. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. You guys were awesome. All right. Thank you so much. Of course. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. My table is right in there, so if you guys want to come say hey or check out some of my artwork, I humbly invite you. So, again, my name is Matt Sutton. I'm Sketchbooks on Instagram. It's SKETCHBOOKS. Come say hey. See you guys.